Hey, welcome in. Today, we're doing a tiny home for a history teacher. I am going to file this away with all of my tiny career homes, but this one was kind of special. I had one of you, a subscriber, ask for a career tiny home that is for a history teacher, and I absolutely love that. A wonderful idea from Yaz. I think that this was so fun. I really tried to dive in deep on what I think a history teacher would have in their house, what their house would look like. And I really wanted this house to be a bit of an older style, nothing modern, this classic home with these bay windows. Honestly, I just had an idea in my head. The getting there for this house, making it look the way I wanted to, where it wasn't super flat on the backside, because I had the front thought out. But by that time, I was hitting 64 tiles and I knew the back needed something. I didn't want it to be overly flat. So it just kind of took some finagling, if you will, to get it there. I wanted it to have this really cute little porch, super tiny yet sweet, very cutesy, if you will. I definitely had to do some shrinking of the house so I could fit something in the back to bring the back from being this flat wall. And I really like the idea of having this octagonal shape on the back. I do end up changing it though because the roof wanted to clip through and that just wasn't going to work for me. I end up just giving it this one little diagonal, but still being able to use the hexagon roof. I just liked the way it looked. It looked right. It just gave it a point of interest, if you will. While I'm kind of getting through decorating the outside, how it should look, let's talk about what a career tiny home is. So I started this series many, many months ago at this point, where every sim has a career, obvi, and they have to have skills that go along with that career. Because tiny homes from Tiny Living give you so many great perks, it felt like a no-brainer. We should have these designated career homes for each career with all the skill building items you need so that you can succeed a little faster in your career. Have I tested this theory? No, I have not. However, I think it still stands that it's a really fun idea, and I am loving getting to design and decorate a house for every single career in The Sims 4. Tiny homes from Tiny Living is so great and just unmatched from all the great perks that you get while living in a tiny home. So there are three different tiers to the tiny homes. Tier 1 is your micro home. That's 32 tiles or less, which is kind of crazy. You can do it. It's been done. I've done it. But it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for extra stuff, okay? It's tiny. And what really sucks is you can't have platforms because that adds into your tiles for your house. A tier 1 micro home is going to do things like lighten the load where you're using less energy, so your bills are cheaper. You're going to get let's all get along, which means your relationship gain is doubled. Let it grow is where your plants grow twice as fast. So I definitely use that for my gardening tiny career home. That was one of my 32 tile homes. Feeling fine all the time is where your happy, inspired, and focused buffs last twice as long. The best one of all, you've got the touch, which means your skills increase double the time. Last one is cozy comforts, which means everything is twice as comfortable, which is really great, especially when you're pushing your Sims to do well in their career. They're going to need some good rest, some comfy couches. It's a need. Now, tier 2s are the sweet spot. That's like what I call them. Tier 2 homes, which is your tiny home, has some of those great perks, but it's cut down. So you're still going to get that skill gain. Everything is still twice as comfortable. You're getting lower bills and you're feeling fine all the time. So I really stick to this tier two because I want a lot of space in the house as much as I can have, but still getting that skill gain because that's like what we're here for, right? We want to increase those skills so that you can continue leveling up in your career. Last but not least is your small home, which is 100 tiles or less, which is a decent sized home, honestly. I've done a couple of those as well, usually for careers that don't really need skills. I think your detective was one of them. You don't really need any skills to be a detective in The Sims. So I was able to just create this nice big 100 tile home and do with it however I saw fit. But in those 100 tier homes, in those small homes, your bills are going to be lowered still, and your happy, focused, and inspired buffs are still going to last twice as long. So it works. It still helps. You know what I mean? We don't need just that. Sometimes we just need some skill gain. And then when you're trying to grow some plants and some relationships, you might need that 32 tile home, which is manageable with things like this tiny bathroom right here. You can do that and save some space when you're in one of those tiny itty bitty micro homes. For this house, we just did it because it was such a weird shape, this house. Because of how I wanted it on the outside, we just let things happen in here. So we just did a tiny little bathroom. I had thoughts and plans of doing a big bathroom upstairs, but this teacher really needed their own office in home. James Turner recently did his yearly recount of the favorite game packs, expansion packs, stuff packs, even the kits. And Book Nook Kits is like up there at the top. I can't remember. I think it's number one, actually. Might be number two. It's been like a week or so since I watched that, but I believe it. Book Nook Kit is one of my favorites. Like, if you own nothing else, buy yourself the Book Nook Kit. The amount of times I have used these built-in bookshelves or the stacks of books or even like the little tray that has the book and the cup of coffee on it. I mean, it's so fun and cozy. And I love cozy homes, okay? I want you to feel just so at ease wherever you live. I think that that's so important, like in real life and in The Sims life. I'm also a maximalist, so line me up some books everywhere. I think it's gorgeous. I'm here for it. I didn't have room for a whole staircase, so I decided to go ahead and use a ladder. It's the high school years one that's technically a trellis, so it can go outside so your Sims can like escape through the window. However, I think it's so pretty. I love plants. Green's my favorite color, and plants are green. And it just happens that plants feel cozy and homey and just lovely. I have plants at home. I just repotted one of them and she's not thriving. I need you to get it together. I'm looking at you. It's called a purple waffle and it's absolutely gorgeous and has been thriving for over a year now. But I knew that she needed to be repotted because she had sprouted so tall. I just knew that her roots were going to look crazy. And I just put it off and put it off and put it off. And so I finally repotted her and she's not super happy with me. And so I'm like looking at her right there. I'm gonna need you to perk it up, lift it up. Come on, thrive for me, please. I'm going to nurse her back to health because she's one of my oldest plants and I love her. She's so pretty, literally a purple waffle. It's like purple underneath the leaves. So pretty. I need her to thrive. If you got any tips, let me know. I'll probably Google it later, but we love plants. I love plants. Okay. I think that they're wonderful. I wish I had more. I don't have the space for more. So I kind of have a lot of artificial plants too. But all this to say, like the leafy trellis headed upstairs felt perfect. Pretend it's fake because you're like climbing up it, right? Just pretend that it is a fake vine going up into your upstairs area. And I think we'll be here for it. And if not, if you want to pretend it's real, well, it's The Sims. So that works too. I'm just loving this house. I think it's so gorgeous. I use some Growing Together windows as well as Strangerville. Strangerville. Last video I said Stranger Things and I didn't catch it until I went back there. I was like, oh, no, not Stranger Things, Strangerville. I use the Strangerville door and those windows right there, and they go really well with the growing together windows and doors. They all have that like black wrought ironwork. Lovely, so pretty. Those change, by the way. Don't get too stuck up on how the windows look. I change them, of course. But I just love how it all looked together. And I used a beautiful blue brick as well as some blue paneling to try and just make everything cohesive, but give lots of texture to the house. It felt right. It felt classic. I end up adding in these windows from Get Famous. They're real cute, plain. They work for the back. They don't stay. I think only one of them ends up staying, and I too put a door into the backyard because I felt like you needed it to kind of go in with this really pretty classic older house feel. I love trellis. It's very like fairy tale to have that ivy just climbing up it. So we use a lot of that, and I'm here for it. The house felt a little flat, so we use a cottage living balcony. I mean, I was just loving how this came together. I wanted it to feel embellished because I feel like older homes feel embellished. There feels like there's a lot going on, but it all works cohesively together. We have decorative spandrels, and we have these beautiful decorative windows and doors and trellis and the textures from the wallpaper. I was super happy with this house. I will probably say it over and over again. I also use this little get together, little flower ivy that's climbing up and kind of layer it into the trellis because I think it's pretty and adds a little something different. I don't like how the trellis obviously starts at the foundation. So I go ahead and take these bushes from Island Living. I do shrink them down one and just kind of layer them in just to edge out the house a little bit. I'm going to come back in and get the ones off the back side of the house so that I can have a little back door, but that's really far down the line. So I will say that this house is for the educator career. I know I already did one, but this one's kind of for a history teacher because of one of you who requested it. You could be in the educator career with this house and have everything except for the research and debate podium. I didn't put it on this lot only because I had just done the law career and it needed a podium as well. And there's only so much you can do with that giant thing, okay? So I didn't add it into this bill. I hope you'll forgive me, but everything else goes. It's got places for you to up your logic and your charisma. Other than that, you'll have to find the podium out in the world or buy it and figure out how it fits into your world here. We use Parenthood wallpapers. I love this tile wallpaper. I think it's so pretty, and it's got the little paneling at the bottom, which allowed me to use the corresponding wallpaper that goes with it in the living room. So it keeps it classic and clean, but just really fun. We're using cottage living for the kitchen because I love cottage living, and I love this green color of those pretty counters and cabinets. So it felt like a no-brainer to use them and kind of go with this very calm, cool, collected space that has these blue greens, minty colors, if you will, downstairs at least. And then upstairs, we go a little more pastel and we kind of broaden our colors up there. And we go into more, okay? But we'll get there in a second. I just kept it very clean. Growing up, okay, well, listen here. When we first moved into this house that I'm living in right now, I was 13 and my bedroom was black, hot pink, black, and hot pink, corresponding walls. Black on one side, black on the other side, pink and pink, okay? Black, black, pink, pink. Anyways, it was very loud and proud, very in charge and large. The colors were out there. But I was a teenager, and it was a part of who I am. Okay, it shaped me into the person I am today. But when I got tired of black and hot pink, go figure, no offense if your room is still that color, but I just sought out something a little more calm. So we ended up painting my room this minty blue green color. I mean, just kind of a perfect shade of mint. Very light. Oh my God. It was like the best thing ever to come home from school and eventually hair school because I used to be a hairstylist and go in my room and sit and do work and just kind of mellow out. You have the natural sunlight beaming in, and this room was just such a bright but calm space. I loved it so much. And so that was kind of the vibe for downstairs. I wanted it to feel very calm, cool, relaxing. You're going to come home from this hectic job as a teacher, which is crazy. I've got teachers in my family. I wanted to be a teacher at one point. My sisters went to school for education. I have a sister-in-law and a cousin who are actively teachers. I mean, it's it's there, okay? So it's a job. I know how stressed they are, and they teach a variety of kids. So I wanted you to be able to come home from that hectic job as a school teacher and feel like it was a place where you could relax and kick back with a book. Now, there's no TV in this house, but there is lots of books and a computer as well. So you'll be able to get that fun up if you need to. This was me finally playing around with having a back door back here. We use the Love Struck door. I liked it. It's not an exact match for the house, but I think it fit well enough. It's got a little bit of wrought iron work. It's just a cute little plain door. I didn't want to add a platform back here for the stairs. So I'm just using the stairs as is and making my choice of how big or little this is going to be. I wanted to do a fence around the yard, but it didn't feel like it fit. It just didn't look right. So we get rid of that idea and we end up really just having this open backyard. I'm going to put some trees back there, some skill building items, and just make it a paradise for your sim, at least in my terms of what a paradise is. So I've gotten rid of the other two windows. We have a door now. We still do have the window that's in the kitchen. It's super pretty. I like how this looks. It's a little unconventional that there are only two windows on the back side of the house. Feels unconventional to me. It's probably right on the money. You know what I mean? Like sometimes houses can be a little weird. You got like 10 of the same windows, or you got no windows at all. I saw this picture a while back of this house that had no windows and they were like marketing it for a privacy home. Uh, I need some natural sunlight. But this house is small enough and has enough windows up front that you've got a window in every room except for the bathroom, which is fine because I was going to put a window in there, but the tiny shower didn't go with it. So it works out. And I added more trellis on the back side, which I think is just, lovely, lovely. I love it. More trellis, please. I absolutely love this swing set from the little campers kit. And if I get an excuse to use it, you know we are going to use it. So we did. I ended up putting it in the front yard in a minute. I also give you things like an art easel, some little gardening pots, and we're going to add in chests for your logic skill. I really wanted lights back here, and I do end up keeping the lights back here, the big white ones from City Living, but I need there to be some sort of customization for it, okay? Because I wanted to close the gap, but my house was too wide and, like I couldn't turn it. I probably could have finagled it. There's that word again. What is with that? And figured out how to make it work. But this was fine. This worked enough just to have some fun fairy lights in the back. Just create this little paradise. You've got this lovely concrete ravine going through here. I don't know if it's a ravine. It's not a river. What is it? Is it a river? It's just concreted? Whatever. You've got it back there, okay? So, and it's pretty. That's some blue water. It could be worse, okay? And you got a little fishing spot. It's just a nice little space that you can go outside and paint, play chess. I mean, you could take your plate out there and go eat because you definitely don't have a dining table in this house. I use this nano can from the little reward thing we did, what, in the summertime or something like that, end of summer. I use it all the time. I just think it's so nice. I love the nano can. I know that if you don't have it in your game, you can get it off the gallery, but I just think it's so cool. And the fact that it literally can be used in any color is great. I hate that they upped the price on it. It was 300. I think now it's like 1,000 or something. Or 700, 1,000, I don't remember. Still cheaper than the actual nano can that's in base game, but this one's really nice because it can match your home. It's not like weird white, blue with green lights, unless that's what you want. Alien home or something. Alien home. I really needed there to be something above the door, okay? I did put a light because obviously I wanted a porch light. I just needed something extra. And it took me a while to figure out what that extra piece was going to be. I end up using this dandy striper awning from base game. I've used it quite a bit before. We have a lot more awnings now, but it ended up being kind of the perfect size and hit at the right spot. I did bump it up a little bit, but I liked it and I liked the pink color. I felt like it was very fitting for this house. Not me trying to find more fairy lights in the back. Now we're using the artist studio kit, which I used the art easel from it. And then I go in with a couple of odd pieces just to look like maybe you've drug this out of your house to paint and that you could easily like slide the cart back inside, take your art easel, get it out of the rain, so to speak, but be able to, make it look mobile. It's not a fixture that's always there. You've just laid it out so you can go paint that day. And I love that. I didn't like how it was lighting up back here. I felt like it needed more light. So we get the movie Hangout stuff pack, put that lantern tree back there. It doesn't add a whole lot. But I guess whenever I have an excuse to use that tree, I use it. And it fit really well in the environment. Sometimes you can't use it because the trees around do not look anything like it. But it did in this case. We talked about the ladder. I realized that you can't get to the little corner right there because, first of all, what are you going to do in that little corner? So I put a nightstand and just kind of cluttered up that corner. So you're going to come up your ladder and immediately come forward towards the bay window to walk around, to get into bed or to go to the office. Now, hear me out about this, okay? I struggled with curtains on these windows. I need a little more customization here too, okay? Windows on the diagonal, some will stretch and some won't. These windows, I used a double window and then singles, but I wanted it to be a cohesive curtaining situation. It definitely took me a hot minute trying to figure out what I wanted. I really wanted to use the movie Hangout stuff pack curtains. They're swoopy and fun, and I use them a lot too. That's one of my favorites. I like that stuff pack a lot. Not for anything other than the design of things. I love the curtains. They have plain swatches and then they have crazy swatches. But I really wanted to use them, but they clipped weird and I wasn't here for how they clipped. And so I keep coming back to it. I'm like, well, what if I shrink them down? No, they don't fit. I even think of coming in here and alt placing them. Let's move the windows over. Let's alt place these curtains and see if we can make them work. And in the end, I just didn't like them. It was so frustrating to like envision what I want for this house, but it not be able to come through just because the curtains don't fit right. After a ton of trial and error, I decided to use these for rent curtains. They're knotted. They're very pretty. Not the exact vibe I was looking for in here, but I think they work well enough. They give that very drapey, comfy vibe, but they fit. And I did not like how two looked next to each other. That had to go. I ended up using this cottage living one in the white swatch. I felt like they matched well enough. They were white. The curtains from For Rent and the curtains from Cottage Living have silver knobby fixtures. So they worked. I liked them. It was a good compromise after I spent probably 20 minutes looking through all the curtains, trying them, and then trying them again. We used a Snowy Escape furry rug. I love that furry rug. It has a really pretty purple swatch to it. And so I kind of like made them bigger and just kind of all placed them. They go really well with the bed. We used a cats and dog bay window sofa. It ended up changing later down the line after I just decided I wasn't loving the colors. I really was loving the pastel vibes of the bed and even the night table. They all worked really well together. The office area felt like a disconnect. You know, it's funny. I actually think that if this house wasn't a tiny home, if that wasn't kind of what we were going for here, I think the house would look a lot different. If there was just room for more furniture and more lavish works of art. But I think we get there in the end. I end up using this paranormal frame clutter, and I use the architecture pictures that I love, I use them all the time, shrunk them down a little bit, and added some werewolf pictures to make that wall a little bit greater and so fun. It just seems like it speaks history. We use a little mirror on the wall, a super basic base game one. I tried all the different options, but basic was gonna be best. So you kind of get more bang for your buck, right? You get this long mirror, but it's against the wall, so you can still have your sim get by and get to the office. I knew I wanted a little table underneath the bay window on this side, just trying to add a little bit of clutter to the room and a little more furniture so the room didn't feel as empty as it felt with just the bed in there. I love this little high school years clutter piece with the frame, the camera, little plate with keys in it. I think it's so fun, and I used to use it a lot more, so it was really great to kind of come across it and decide, oh, that should be on my little clutter table. For your desk, I did put some clutter on the top. However, I kept the bottom really open so that way your sim won't have problems using the computer. I have a corkboard there that I didn't actually add any postcards to, so I think you should. I think you should do that collection and add postcards to it. And if you don't want to, then you can use cheats to get those postcards for yourself. I just didn't add them on. I like to keep it open. Sometimes you want to do those things for yourself, you know? Rugs in here sucked. I don't always say that word, but it did. Oh, also, if you saw my last video, my pink little 10-minute, 20-minute pink challenge, I say the word stupid, and then I say how my 3-year-old's not allowed to say the word stupid. Well, my sister wanted to watch the video with me, so we watched it, and of course my 3-year-old was in the room, and I said stupid, and he looked up and he goes, "Ugh, you said stupid." And I was like, yeah, I did. I don't normally say that word in videos, but of course it would figure that the one time I say it, my 3-year-old catches me. But we moved on quickly from it. He's always super excited when he sees me on TV. He thinks it's fun. And then, of course, I was building a pink house for his Baba, which he absolutely adores her. So he was all for it, screaming, "Look, there's a pink toilet. Look, there's a pink sink. There's a pink bed." And I mean, everything was pink in that house. So it was a lot of him squealing at all the pink stuff that I put in the house for his aunt. So now we're finally adding clutter to the nightstand. I completely forgot that it was over there. Like, I didn't forget, but I was a little busy doing other things in the house. So it kind of fell by the wayside. So we just cluttered it up real quick. Now we're kind of getting into final touches. We're getting in here, adding some terrain paint, just trying to make everything a little more cohesive, pull it all together. I decide to line the pathway to the house with that little low fence. I always forget what it's called. But it usually has a black swatch as the main one. I wish it could go to the edge of the lot. I know it can't. It just is what it is. It kind of helped define the walkway, so I liked it. But I think it's about time we jump into these screenshots. I absolutely adore this house. It was so fun to do, and it's just so pretty. I hope you feel the same way I do about it. And I have to say, I really loved getting a suggestion from one of you guys. That was probably the best part of all of this, is that this was something that you wanted and you thought of. And That's so cool to me that, my videos are getting out there to where someone feels like, hey, what if you could do this? And I love that. Suggestions are great. I love the way that this history teacher house turned out, and I hope you do too. If you like it, it is play tested on the gallery waiting for you. My EA ID is katxthrash, just like the name here on YouTube. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely keep coming back for more. I appreciate every single one of you. And if you've made it this far, I am going to be hosting a giveaway for a $50 gift card once I hit 500 subscribers. So make sure to like the video, comment, let me know your favorite room, and let's get this going. I hope you have a great night wherever you are. Bye, y'all.